Good evening. To Harry, with every good wish for the future, from Dorothy Shaw, July 1947. Given to James, 2014, Pa's favourite book. 3 men in a boat. Three men in a boat, to say nothing of the dog. Jerome K. Jerome. Published by Arrowsmith. Bibliographical note. This book has been printed many times in various editions. The date of this new edition, which is the 108th impression, is July 1946. Author's advertisement. The world has been very kind to this book. The sales of the English editions in their various forms have exceeded 1.5 million. In Chicago, I was assured many years ago by an enterprising pirate, now retired, that the sales throughout the United States had exceeded 1 million. And although in consequence of its having been published before the Copyright Convention, this has brought me no material advantage. The fame and popularity it has won me among the American public is an asset not to be despised. It has been translated into, I think, every European language, also into some of those of Asia. It has brought me many thousands of letters from young folk, from old folk, from well folk, from sick folk, from merry folk, and from sad folk. They have come to me from all parts of the world, from men and women of all countries. Had these letters been the only result, I should feel glad that I had written the book. I retain a few blackened pages of one copy sent to me by a young colonial officer from South Africa. They were taken from the knapsack of a dead comrade found in Sipon Kop. So much for testimonials. It remains only to explain the merits justifying such an extraordinary success. I am quite unable to do so. I have written books that have appeared to me more clever, books that have appeared to me more humorous, but it is as the author of 3 Men in a Boat, to say nothing of the dog, that the public persists in remembering me. Certain critics used to suggest that it was the vulgarity of the book, its entire absence of humour, that accounted for its success with the people. But one feels by this time that such a suggestion does not solve the riddle. Bad art may succeed for a time, and with a limited public. But it does not go on to extend its circle through nearly half a century. I have come to the conclusion that, be the explanation what it may, I can take credit to myself for having written this book. That is, if I did write it. For really, I hardly remember doing so. I remember only feeling very young and absurdly pleased with myself for reasons that concern only myself. It was summertime, and London is so beautiful in the summer. It lay beneath my window, a fairy city veiled in a golden mist, for I worked in a room high above the chimney pots, and at night the lights shone far beneath me, so that I looked down into an Aladdin's cave of jewels. It was during those summer months I wrote this book. It seemed the only thing to do. Preface to the first edition. The chief beauty of this book lies not so much in its literary style, or in the extent and usefulness of the information it conveys, as in its simple truthfulness. Its pages form the record of events that really happened. All that can be done is to colour them, and for this there is no extra charge. George and Harris and Montmorency are not poetic ideals, but things of flesh and blood, especially George, who weighs about 12 stone. Other works may excel this in depth of thought and knowledge of human nature. Other books may rival it in originality and size, but for hopeless and incurable veracity, nothing yet delivered can surpass it. This, more than all its other charms, will, it is felt, make the volume precious in the eye of the earnest reader, and will lend additional weight to the lesson that the story teaches. London, August 1889.